Hello everyone, it's Ashwin Rao. I'm not going to let a little hoarse voice stop me from talking about an amazing boot that I've been meaning to touch base with you about. This is the article number 1992 from Monroe Heritage. So let's talk a little bit more. This video was prompted by someone on Instagram who had reached out and saying, you know what, we need a video on this particular boot. And I was like, you know what, you're right. Monroe Heritage comes from Bandung, Indonesia. Bandung is a bootmaking mecca for those who are interested in heritage workwear and bootcraft. And Monroe Heritage has made a name for themselves offering really high quality production. They initially were using mainly local leathers tanned in Indonesia, but have over the past year or two branched out into imported leathers, such as this Shinki Hikaku oiled horsebutt leather, which you see in two different tones here. You see it in both a natural tone as well as in a black tone here. And that Shinki Hikaku horsebutt leather has this unique reticulated grain that you can see in this area here. You can see there's a very unique pattern to this leather if you stare at the highlights and pay close attention. That has made it a really desirable leather in the boot community because it functions a lot like shell cordovan in that it doesn't really crease dramatically. It's a rugged leather. It takes quite a bit of time to break in, but it's suited to this aesthetic of shoes. Monroe Heritage is headed up by Iwan Faisul Bastomi. Iwan and I befriended each other a few years ago, and I actually ran a MTO of a pair of shoes that I actually designed that were meant to be a bridge between shoes and boots, and a modern update of the JM Weston Golf that was quite successful, and I felt both indebted to and tied to Monroe Heritage ever since because just such a wonderful company and person to work with. Iwan is also a Leica shooter, and I am a enthusiastic Leica shooter. Leica shooting refers to the use of Leica cameras. Yohei Fukuda is another Leica enthusiast. I'm sure there's others, but people who really appreciate well-made things, fine craftsmanship, are going to appreciate both these types of boots, make these types of boots, and shoot Leica cameras, and that's a place where both Iwan and I connected. So this is the article number 1992, 1992. It's essentially their military style service boot model. You can see here that this model has a rounded toe, slightly asymmetric, with a double row Veltschwin construction. It features a structured toe, a woodsman style heel, this curved heel that you'll see right there. You can also see 5 brass eyelets and 2 speed hooks, a natural edge dressing, which you can see right here, and a Dr. Sole half sole. So you can see the Monroe Heritage emblem emblazoned both on the tongue of the shoe, which is also made from that Shinki leather, as well as on the bottom of the shoe across this leather outsole right here. Iwan reached out to me because he had some Shinki Hikaku oiled horsebutt available and said, hey, I have this two-toned service boot model and I could design it and make it in your size. And it's a more aggressive style. Certainly wouldn't be the first boot in my collection unless I were really into aggressive styles. But what a complementary option for a main collection. And this is Veltschwin stitching. This is hand-done work. Look at how clean that work is, guys. Really, really well done. There's a little bit of tension across the stitching right here. Very little, but you can see that a little bit. But to take such a thick leather and really have no lasting issues at all is very impressive. Simple yet elegant lasts, comfortable fits, robust leathers, robust construction using full grain leathers. Just a really well put together company who puts out their boots in relatively short order. From the time from placing your order to receiving a pair of Monroe boots is about 6 weeks or less. And so they do a really good job producing a very high quality handmade boot with rapid turnaround time and hard to argue with the quality style, craftsmanship, and comfort that you get here. Now, I've worn this boot a couple times, and you can see this Shinki Horsebutt, which is essentially a cousin of cordovan leather. The Shinki Horsebutt leathers actually do occasionally include pieces of the cordovan leather, depending on how the cordovan is salvaged, which is a membrane that underlies the Horsebutt full grain leather. But it doesn't really crease. You can see maybe these micro creases forming across the top of the vamp here at the flex point of the shoe. But really, this is a leather that's designed more to roll rather than crease. But it is a tough, hard to break in leather, but one that rewards you for the effort you put into it. And so if you're really somebody who has a couple pairs of boots and wants to wear the heck out of it and really have a journey with your pair of shoes, this is a model you should really consider. Give them a look. They also are supplied by, I believe, Baker's Boots in the US and a couple other brick and mortar manufacturers around the world, but you can order their boots MTO via Instagram direct messaging and other communication methods that are listed there. So I hope you're doing well. We'll talk to you soon, okay? Take care and goodbye.